Right, well, that's that wrapped up.
Yeah. Hey, Nathan, you'll be happy to know that I've changed nearly all my websites to U-themes, and we're U-themes only these days.
Oh, wow. You've probably done better than I have. I'm still struggling to move something.
The main reason was Quicks, when they went to the new version, it all fell apart.
Yeah, I've heard there's been some issues.
Oh, I just give up. I can't wait for things to be fixed constantly. I've got to get on with it. So we just changed over and committed to it.
Yeah.
It's been a bit of work, but it's been worth it.
The dynamic
And it's
content.
I must admit, those guys are pretty supportive. I'm on their channels and that. They're pretty good.
Yeah, right. Do you use Discord with them?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay. I still haven't got on that yet.
Ha!
And
Here's me thinking you'd be impressed with it.
sorry?
Here's me thinking you'd be impressed with that.
I'm very impressed that you've been on the Discord.
Yeah, not the fact that I got there quicker than you. The fact we actually changed, which was good.
That too, for sure.
It was a common sense approach, I think. The new e-commerce they're doing looks interesting. Still a little way off yet. Not them. They actually, it's third party and it's going to be commercial.
The commerce.
But it's done around U-themes.
Yeah, Commerce Lab.
Yes, Commerce Lab's looking quite good.
Used to be Pro to Store, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Yeah.
It did,
Yeah,
and then a new guys took over and renamed it and made it a commercial entity. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I keep getting their emails trying to get me to sign up for a VIP membership, but
Yeah.
I haven't, unfortunately, had a store to do while I've been doing that. So.
Ah.
Yeah, it looks like it's not quite ready anyway.
No. We do need something decent as far as e-commerce is concerned still, because I'm still doing e-commerce sites. If they're serious and large, I do them in WordPress purely for WooCommerce. I don't like working in WordPress, but
Right.
you know, you can't. WooCommerce is pretty complete where you get to something decent. There's things in Joomla we just can't do. Oh, well, without customization.
Yeah,
you don't want to write custom code if you can help it.
there's a lot more bolted on stuff on WordPress and WooCommerce in particular, certainly when it comes to like enterprise level things integrated with other systems.
Yeah, I'm hoping they'll sort of fill that gap. Virtumark, have you ever looked at that lately?
Well, we've been
I
waiting.
haven't.
We've been waiting for Rusty to deliver his presentation on U-theme and Virtumark for a good couple of months now.
Oh, well, I'd be interested in that because apparently it's quite good with its newest version. They got over the hurdles when they went from the original and fell over in the next version and recovered apparently. So I've read.
Russell's using the M/UX theme, I think.
Yeah.
And he's kind of happy with where he's gotten to in terms of it being an e-commerce stack. And he's usually pretty confident that he can do most things. Virtumark still as much of a pain as it can be. But yeah, he's still holding out on the presentation. Listening to this on playback. Put your finger out.
Yeah, that's it.
Stuart, do you have any update on J2?
No update. I'm still in beta with their version 4. And that's all I know.
Yeah, okay. I'm a bit of a J2, advocate.
Yeah, it's a requirement of what you need. We've got one client, for instance, got over 100,000 products on there listed, and it had to be WooCommerce because then they required special, well, it's plugins for WooCommerce, but they required quotes before they ship because they build anything from a dinosaur-sized dinosaur to, a mouse, for instance. So shipping couldn't be, you can't auto add shipping for that because they might need a semi-trailer to move it. So it goes in, even though they order it through the cart, it goes in as a quote. The staff get it, adjust it, send it back, and then they just approve it online if they're happy with that quote, and it turns into an order. Things like that was just too difficult trying to do it in Joomla, as much as I hate. I had to bite the bullet and change.
Yeah, but part
We've
of
got a
it's
couple of those smart sites now.
is part of it more that the size of the Joomla community and ecosystem hasn't seen someone go through to develop that, because there's not a mass market sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. That's the Quicks crowd. No, not the Quicks crowd. Who was the other? Oh, Jada Store guys were trying to model all theirs on WooCommerce, but I don't know what happened there.
Yeah,
When I was speaking to him last, he said we will be the WooCommerce of in Joomla of the or in Joomla world of what WooCommerce is to WordPress.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to weigh the two off. WordPress has so many issues in itself.
I know, it's
Like
right.
there's cache leaks in there.
If you have 40% of the global e-commerce market, like WooCommerce does,
Oh, I agree. I agree totally. They have the money, they have the funding.
the J2
And
store
people say-
guys probably 5 of them programming, as opposed to WooCommerce having several hundred.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
they've
it
got a
doesn't-
big team.
It's a better product. It's just that
It's just consumerism and support.
sometimes I think WordPress's development is, a room full of programmers that are actually monkeys with typewriters, and out comes something that's a solution. Not necessarily the best.
Not necessarily good, but yeah.
To me, it's just a matter of balancing up the good and the bad. Like I said, it's only WooCommerce is the only reason I would move. I would never move to WordPress for anything else. There's too many. To give you an idea, that site I was just talking about, the large site, grows daily between 15 to 25 gig on the server due to caching issues. Every day we've got to trim it right back down again. And they said it's a known bug that's been there for so many versions and no one does anything about it. It's things like that. So, you've got to live with that if you want it.
Mm.
So, by no means is it WordPress any answer to anything, but sometimes, as you said, their market is so huge that they get something like WooCommerce, which is a commercial grade, if you like, e-commerce sort of thing. And yes, we haven't got the ecosystem, therefore we're never going to get the programmers they have working on those projects. But what I have learnt, they say how free it is. As soon as you start buying plugins, Jesus, they charge so much more.
Yeah.
It makes ours look like bloody street corner, giveaways, really.
Yeah.
What we pay and people complain about and don't want to pay, they should move over to WordPress and start paying.
Yeah.
They soon escalate the price.
So how do we change that culture?
Well,
Fine.
yes, moving forward, it's a good thing to look at, actually, isn't it? I'm slowly doing it site by site. Any site I get a chance to change to Joomla gets changed. Because usually you find clients haven't got a clue, and all they need is a nice, simple CMS.
And also with the
And they're really
e-commerce, I would just say, I look after about 5 or 6 Joomla e-commerce stores. They don't have massively complicated requirements. You're right. So if quoting was something, then that'd be an issue. You still can do an e-commerce store.
Oh, definitely. We've got Joomla e-commerce stores. My point was when they became complex, you got no choice.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure I'd look at WordCommerce. So if it's complex, there's lots of other standalone, shopping cart systems options as well.
There is, I guess. It was just an easy path to go, I think.
Yeah. I guess
and the fact
you can use your
themes as well, which was even better. So,
Have you used your theme with WordCommerce?
Yeah, it was fine. Well, for our themes, it was. So, having said that, we've also used Elementor, which cost us a fortune. So
Right.
Joomla people, I think in some respects, when they start complaining about prices, they've got no idea of what prices are and what they, how cheap our stuff actually is.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think they undersell themselves a lot because the market's small. If anything, it should be more, not less.
So the question is, how do we support them better?
Well, like I said, it's a good breeding point to follow forward with and work on.
Otherwise, they're
How do
going to
we-
go. Otherwise, they're going to give up and they'll go. And then we have nothing.
That's true. Like I said, part of that is actually bringing Joomla sites back into the fold. That's one small way of doing it, I guess. And growing the numbers that way, whether they like it or not, because they don't know the difference, most of the customers. And the other way is educating people, I think, on, you think this is expensive, but you haven't done anything in, WordPress, for instance, which you think costs nothing. It doesn't cost nothing. It costs nothing if you want to do a blog. It costs a lot if you want to do anything else. So yeah, it's all education. You're right there. And how to educate, I'm not sure.
I think I've mastered Joomla 4. 4.1 was an interesting challenge, changing all the template media files across. But, yeah, I'm pretty pleased. I was a bit disappointed with what happened with 4.2.0 seemed to be a bit of a shambles. But is anyone on the current 4.2.2, and is that stable? I'm not quite.
So 4.2.0 and 4.2.1, they were working on the web authentication, where you've got a YubiKey that you plug in to your computer.
Yep.
And the reason there was a double release for 4.2.1 and 4.2.2 was that the changes they made going into 4.2.1 had only been tested by a small pool of bug testers, patch testers. And then what happened was when it went live, if you had the WebAuthn plugin turned on, it would then ping back to the WebAuthn servers. And as more people did their updates, suddenly it's piling onto those servers. And so then they quickly had to sort out a workaround. If you're not using the YubiKey, my advice is to unpublish that plugin.
It's actually disabled by default with the update, Patrick.
Oh, they changed it finally. Yeah.
Yeah, because I updated one site.
You're talking about the WebAuthn plugin, correct?
Yeah.
How many people use YubiKey as opposed to other two-factor?
Here in Europe, which is where the guys that developed that have then gone and put that in. So I'm about to write I'm not going to write a Joomla magazine article, because I'm going to put a affiliate link in for people to buy their own YubiKey authenticators. Amazon affiliate link. So if you do want to do that, then they're easy enough to get hold of. But if you're like me, I can be on any computer at any time and need to log in. So I tend to use 2 or 3 other layers of security to get in. That may change when I have my own e-commerce niche sites where a rather substantial income is desirably going to come from those. If that's the case, then I think I'll be locking it down a bit harder.
Yeah, I might be a bit old school, but I kind of prefer to use an authenticator app rather than carry another physical device around.
Most of the people I know that have been involved in the development of it are programmers that don't leave their office or their room. So They'll just have to log into that desktop computer all the time. And it just automatically does the authentication because it also turns it in. You don't need to put a username or anything in. You just click on the button and it logs you straight in with the authentication key.
Has anyone here got a metallic keyboard?
Metallica keyboard.
Metallic, yes.
No, metallic
Why?
keyboard, as in metallic keys.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Who's going yes?
Apple? I don't
Yeah.
know.
So you've got like a special metallic, you know, the ones you go, you can customize the keys and all that stuff.
That's right. Yeah, because I'm a gamer.
Right, yes. Well, then you're possibly likely to use a YubiKey. The rest of us probably not so much.
No, not me. I hate it. I have enough trouble with authenticators apps. I just changed phones recently that caused all sorts of nightmares.
My point is that YubiKey is fairly kind of hardcore geek. And, you know, we're fairly solid geeks on here, but, you know, if you're using a metallic programmable keyboard, then, you know, you might be in the market for a YubiKey.
I have, I've got some programs that I use that require it, but I get sent that by the company, the YubiKey, to go with it. So it's keyed to the key rather than, you know, I mean, if I lost that key, then that's it. I've got to pay the company and get a new key sent out, which is a bit of a pain, really. Especially when you get to my age and you start forgetting where you put things.
Yeah, that's my problem with it, the physical nature of it, like easily losable.
That's right.
You know, I can lose my glasses when they're sitting on my head, for Christ's sake.
Or I'm talking
yeah.
on the phone, look at the phone.
Well, you can have the same issues with two-factor if you lose your phone, for example. But I go belts and braces, and I've got the authenticator on at least 3 devices, and I've got the recovery keys stored elsewhere in encrypted files. So if you lose
Yeah, I might
that,
have to get that clever.
if you lose that recovery key, you're stuffed. If you lose your phone or have to change phones, and yeah, I changed phones recently, and the those particular apps don't come across. You've got to reset them. So you definitely need those recovery keys.
Yes, I'll have to go a step further and actually put all that in place. I just changed phones and I just had to suck it for a month or so, didn't have access to some until I got back to the companies and worked it all out and got them reset, which was a real pain.
So you didn't save your
my
recovery.
fault.
You didn't
No, I
save
didn't
your
save
recovery
my
key.
keys.
Right.
That's right. I was a bad boy, but now that you mention it, I should do that.
Yep.
Have access to the old phone?
No. I let the boys have it.
Yeah. Well, actually, you could have still got it back from them and accessed it.
Some of the hardest ones actually was Facebook and that, to tell you the truth. Not that I really wanted access except for the social media side for SEO.
Yeah.
But they're near on impossible to get to reset something. And you can only talk to them by email, which is really frustrating sometimes.
PayPal.
Yes. I don't know whether I'm bad or not. If our sites are simple for the customers, I don't use two-factor. I don't know whether I should use it everywhere, but some customers buck up as well when they're just straight sites, basically, that they're not there for their business. You know, am I bad for not enforcing it?
Yeah, I've only got it on sites that require another degree of security. And I haven't really got it on anything that's not got sort of membership data and things like that tied to it. But in the 12 months over most of COVID, I went from having sort of my Xero one and a Facebook one and Google Authenticated, now having 15. It can quickly get out of hand.
At least do you have to use the Microsoft one? That's a pain.
No, so all of mine are in the Google Authenticator, which is at least consistent.
I have one client whom I'm on their Teams account.
Yeah.
and it uses the freaking Microsoft Authenticator, as does Outlook. And it's like a 3-step process to get the actual code.
Yeah.
Which kind of defeats the purpose
It does. Yeah.
of an authenticator app, I would have thought. It's
So all the language in Joomla is now changed from 2-factor authentication to multi-factor authentication going forward. So that's pretty interesting. I don't know if anyone's is anyone using the language packs that I've been slaving across English AU?
No.
There's
No,
English,
not for you to show.
Well, I use them by default.
yeah.
Yeah, I select English AU.
Yeah, the original English US one had been uploaded from a scrambled, so for a while we had to put out like 15 versions of the US one to fix everything up. The Australian one was all done hand by hand, and then I downloaded that and then pushed it back up as the New Zealand one. And I think the only thing that got changed was good day to Kiora, and then the Canadian one popped up, and now in the last couple of weeks the South African version's popped up as well. So if you need different flavors of English, there's now 5+ English GB. So yeah.
I had to do a mass find and replace language override recently because the client wanted the word post changed to thread in easy discuss.
Yes.
And I was like,
Actually, regarding that, have people been finding that the languages aren't caching properly? So when you search for something, I had a few instances with J2 Store where I had to go and find the string in the INI files and then go and create the override. I was wondering whether it's my particular sites aren't indexing the languages properly or not.
That's a bit of a common thing with J2 and other modules actually.
Okay. Right. So the particular strings I was after were Ajax triggers.
I did notice that the language override system tends to delete any language override file that has a syntax error in it.
Oh.
Yeah, which was odd and took me a little while to work out. But I was trying to make this change and was not seeing any difference. And then I kind of went in onto the server and went, oh, the override file's gone, and tested again. And I had a look at it and went, oh, okay, you've got a syntax error. That's why it's broken. I was still surprised it actually deleted the file.
I've actually had trouble with the mail template with a language code missing or incorrect, invalid. Anyone had that?
Not yet.
Yeah, trying to edit some of the standard notification emails, and it comes up with an invalid language code.
That sounds.
Was that in Glen or in a module?
You're really soft when you speak.
Yeah, I know that.
It's always been soft.
It's one of my Parkinsonisms. What I was asking was it core or a module I didn't quite catch, or a component that he was having trouble with the email template?
No, it's just the core mail template.
Is that in Joomla 4?
Yeah, 422.
Yeah, okay. So that wouldn't surprise me that that's a bug, because there's when I wrote the article over 12 months ago, that feature was temperamental and might still be a bit temperamental. So, yeah, if you play around with it further and work out what that should get fixed. Would anybody be interested in me arranging some of the production department to come and give a presentation on how the roadmap is spreading up?
Yeah.
You mystify it. I'll put some feelers out to get that sorted out.
I'm currently playing Merry Hell with a big stick with PHP 8.1.
Is that causing problems?
Oh, nothing major, just deprecated stuff that's still in core.
Mick, didn't you do something along that?
Yeah, we've had some problems with J2 Store, and what was the other one plugin that you found? There was another one. Oh, and it wasn't being used, but it was still in the system.
Oh, that one the other day. So there was a.
Though it's unpublished, it needs to be uninstalled.
Yeah, so J2 Store and
And
shipping.
FOF with a 0 in the middle. But J2 Store still uses it.
Yeah, so Akiba pulled their code 2 years ago, and so they ended up with a framework that was part of the core, and then legacy bits that are in a F0 plugin, and J2 Store was still. And if you've got an old version of that, it's throwing a problem with the less file.
Yeah.
Patrick, I'm hearing a lot of echo with you. You got something going on there that will explain that?
You know, so I'm somehow getting feedback on the Brisbane one, so I'll mute between.
So is core supposed to be 8.1 compatible or not?
Yeah, so aside from some deprecated functions at the moment, by the sounds of it, I've got 8.1 running for all my Joomla 4 sites now, and that's working fine. I haven't, after Brit's little escapade last week, that switching Joomla 3 sites to PHP 8 can sometimes still throw errors if you've got older code or older plugins that haven't been updated. And so then that can cause you some headaches if very strict things are on. Yeah, you'll get white screens of death more than anything else. So.
But I thought Glenn was referring to Joomla core issues with 8.
Yeah, with the deprecated. Yeah, so 8.0 is the minimum recommended spec at the moment.
I just copied in the ones that I've found into the chat session now. That's just what I found today, and it's a couple of them I think have already been identified, but yeah, so
so what string to lower and string to upper have been deprecated? Okay.
and explode won't accept nulls.
Okay.
And a lot of our complexities are actually related to the access we have in cPanel, because the hosting provider decided to take away PHP selector from our use. So, just to add to the mix. So no longer have any control. I need to make appointments with the hosting company in order to do a test.
Who was that, Brett?
It's a company down on the south coast that apparently they said they're ISO certified, and so therefore they can no longer give me my PHP selector access.
Yeah, that sounds like shite.
Oh, it's been ongoing. But anyway.
I mean, a shite explanation. Why they keep doing
Yeah.
that?
You know, hello. Yeah, because I had it before.
Search it up, can you?
Hmm?
You can't search it up, can you? Or they've locked it out completely?
No, they've changed it to
Because I've seen sites where they've removed it, but I've just done a version look up and it comes straight up.
no, they have definitely locked me out. It's just a way for them to charge by the hour for their time. Is my guess.
Time to change hosting.
I can't. No, it's client's choice.
Talking about deprecations, does anyone take note of the changes forthcoming in Joomla 5? I know it's a while away yet, but for those of us who use a lot of custom code, there's some things in there like changing J factory to factory, for example.
So my understanding, well, yeah, I only got told this 3 weeks ago, and so I know that they're working on it. And the reason I got told is because I'm being tasked with finding people to work on it. So they've created manual.joomla.org. And that's going to become a more comprehensive developer manual rather than just Joomla docs. And so then this is being written in, I can't remember, what is it called?
Some new thing I saw in the newsletter.
Yeah. So we're reading the magazine this month, which came out, we're reading the magazine last month. The new magazine should have just popped up in the past hour and a half. So you can contribute code, you can contribute to the manual through GitHub now, whereas the Joomla docs, which is in all sorts of disarray, is created through MediaWiki. So the plan is to get a Docusaurus. That's what it's called.
Docusaurus, yes.
So yeah, in running with Docusaurus, it means that as things get created, they can be pulled in. So I'll have to work out who's maintaining it, because there's currently 7 pull requests that haven't been put in yet. So I know the drafts as well. So it doesn't help. So if you find, probably the main piece of feedback to get out of everyone at the moment is, what are you looking for in regards to documentation, and what you're not finding, so that we can then create a better to-do list to then try and task people with creating what's needed. So the scope of a Joomla 4 to Joomla 5 transition roadmap is quite wide in scope, whereas if we can find some things to narrow it down onto, that'd be break it into parts. So and at the moment I'm breaking lots and lots of things into very tiny little parts, and then hopefully you can find lots of people with 5 minutes to half an hour to just do one part versus needing 5 to 10 years of your life, which is what the day docs look like. So, yeah.
Well, this might sound a stupid idea because I don't fully understand why they deprecate certain things, but I guess there's good reasons behind it. But it would seem to me that for something like changing J factory to factory, couldn't there be an alias of some sort that would somehow allow you to keep that construct, but automatically change it to whatever the new functionality was going to be? I admit that might be a silly question, but I'm just tossing it out.
And again, that's beyond my level of understanding of programming and how they create the classes and objects and things like that is not at that custom coding 24/7 level. And I was saying even to Stuart the other day that I can fudge my way through PHP to work out what an if statement does. I can read the code and work out what it's actually doing, but I can't go and cleanly write code to do something the best way possible. And that's where some of this is a case of learning what needs to be in here and what to do. So we're going to make a note of that. J factory terminology is an example.
I think more fundamentally, the fact that there's a bit of a roadmap out for version 5, and Patrick, we were talking the other day about the speed of version 5 coming out, maybe quicker, obviously, than version 4, 3 to 4. So
Robbie retired.
They're talking about it within like a year, aren't they? Is it like 1 year or 2?
I think it's a year before release. Yeah, possibly less. I think it's maybe August might have been mentioned next year. It's out there anyway, the plan. So unfortunately, I've got about 150 substantial modules where I've got to do a search and replace of J factory to factory. And there's probably other things as well. They're talking about deprecating get DBO, which is a pretty fundamental way of accessing the platform database. But yeah, I guess you've got to live with these things. But you think, well, why? Why couldn't there be an easier way?
It'd be good if they could put up the reasons why they make these changes. Then, if you see justification, you can go along with it. And if you didn't, then maybe it's a decision thing as well, maybe.
Yeah.
I think there had been a couple of blog articles or articles in the magazine written about these changes and why they're doing them. Don't quote me on that, but I feel like I've seen a couple without having necessarily read them fully.
But I've gone straight to the source, and if he clicks on the link that I just sent him, Phil Walton, who's just the friend in London, but is now the outreach department coordinator, and is the one making me do all this other stuff with them, finding people for the manual and things like that, is possibly going to jump on in a second and might be able to answer some of the questions we've already had there. Let's see what he's doing. He's just asked me whether I've got an admin menu called Modern that he has on some of his sites, but
is that the different way of having the extensions update menu?
might be. Yeah, I'm trying to get the context from him, but said it was in J3, then breaks if you update to J4. So
Yeah, so in the administrator module, there is an option to change it to modern, which changes the extensions menu to be a system menu, I think, and then it gives you some drop-down menu options.
Oh, that's in Joomla 3, or is that how you?
Yeah, Joomla 3. I did it once on one side a little while ago and started driving me mad, and I switched it back. This kind of thing, I thought, yeah, it'd work if all my sites were like this, but they're not.
Yeah, no, I've never spotted it. So, where would you get to it in the menu options?
So you go to Site Administrator Modules. Oh, sorry, not Extensions, or Modules, Administrator Modules. You have to filter away from Site to Administrator.
Yep.
And there's a menu module in there that's to do with the main admin menu, and it has an option in it.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
Yeah, I can't even remember why I went in there, but I saw it and I thought, oh, what does that do? And I turned it on and went, oh, it changes the extensions menu to be system, maybe. I can't quite remember. I only did it on one site, but you know, I have 40 sites and it was starting to piss me off when I'd use that one site. If they'd all been like that, it probably would have been cool.
Yeah, because I use Advanced Module Manager, I probably don't get that. Is that possible?
No, I use that all the time as well. Let me have a look. Yeah, so if you go to admin menu in the admin modules, there's an option where it's got choose preset, and you can choose preset modern rather than preset Joomla.
Ah, okay. Yep.
And it changes the admin menu, as I say, to be different. And so he's just discovered that if you've got that set and you update to Joomla 4, that's not being catered for. Is that right?
That sounds like the plan there, yeah.
Right. A little oversight. Potentially because somebody didn't actually update the admin menu but built a new one.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Joomla hidden features.
I love how the first option is menu to show, use a preset, and that's the only option.
Yeah, yeah.
And then choose preset Joomla or modern. But yeah, sure, okay. Is that called an Easter egg, I guess?
Yeah. And all it does is change the extensions menu to a manage menu.
Yeah, manage, that's right. But it gives you some other stuff under there that I think is under system configuration, maybe? I don't know. It's a bit weird.
So he knows where the preset is, just not how to remove it if it's busted.
Well, why does he think we're going to know that?
Yeah, yeah.
I would have thought he's had more to do with building Joomla 4 than we have. So.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's probably a parameter in the admin menu module in extensions or assets maybe or something. Oh no, the admin menu in modules. There's probably a parameter. So you can probably edit it via PHP my admin and turn it off.
Yeah. A good idea at the time that it wasn't.
Yeah. That's why I changed it back. I was like, hey, it looks good, but no.
Hmm. Oh, yeah, that setting probably doesn't exist at all in J4, does it? So. It's funny working with Phil because Phil and I, well, Phil's probably got slightly better PHP knowledge than I do, but there's some things that I've just accumulated knowledge on that I can just spit out at him. But then Benjamin, who's the production director now, he's got an amazing level of PHP and programming knowledge, and so he'll come in and he'll just go in a very German way. You do this, and it's done. And so Phil's actually been shown how to fix this, but it was months ago and he's forgotten how to do it. So,
Well, there is actually an option. There's just heaps more of them.
Yeah.
If I go to admin menu, I've got user preset, which again is still the only option under menu to show. Then I have 8 options. This is in Joomla 4.2.2, but none of them are modern. So that's probably the issue.
right. So if it's looking for modern,
I've got preset content dashboard, preset alternative main menu, components dashboard, Joomla main menu, help dashboard, menus dashboard, system dashboard, and users dashboard. No idea what any of them do, but none of them are called modern. So there you go. Does that mean it's easier? They like pre-built kind of menu collections for end users or end admins or something?
yeah, no.
I have a feeling changing the default is probably going to break my admin site.
No, but this preset thing relates back to the other article that I've got to rewrite, because the original discussion on dashboards, the way that I thought it was done, apparently has nothing to do with it.
All right.
Yeah, don't go changing your preset though in Joomla 4.
You did?
Oh, I did, but I because it changes the entire left-hand menu dramatically.
Right.
There's one that you can do. So if you change it to preset alternative main menu, then it regroups everything in Joomla 3 groupings. But if you pick one of the other dashboards, then it cuts it jumps to just that section of the main menu.
I've got to have a look now.
Yeah.
So alternative main menu is kind of like his modern one, I think, isn't it?
it does a similar sort of thing, but it's not. Yeah. Technically, it's not a bug. It's just a UX feature that could be improved. It's doing what it's designed to do. It just shouldn't be designed to do that. So.
Yes, right. So is the idea with it that you could duplicate the module and have different ones for different access levels?
Potentially, yes. Yeah.
So you could have one that is for, administrator rather than super user. Or
yeah, but rather than needing to, so you could have multiple administrator user groups and assign them different menus. So then they would have administrator level privileges, but not necessarily see menu components that they didn't need to see and things like that. So, yeah.
But anyway, I don't know what the answer to his problem is then.
No, so I think he knows that Benjamin's got the result, but I'd never, though I'd never really seen it and never really gone looking to do that feature. I have seen an impact of it in the past, but just need to work out what it needed to be. So, fun and games. So on Glenn's question earlier about the deprecations, there's a number that are listed in the issues list at the moment. Other Glenn, I think it is. So, I know it was yours. Yeah. So we'll come back there. I've made a note elsewhere to come back and look at that again later. But so,
Patrick, is there any sort of news of pizza bugs and fun at home or the equivalent coming up? Or documentation?
There will be news coming out about that's the next part of the conversation that I've got to have with Phil over the next couple of days. So the plan at the moment is that there'll be a string of events during October and into November. So rather than it just all being crammed into one weekend, we'll be able to space that out over the course of several weeks. So then we can focus on particular areas and have a pre-event that shows you what needs to be done and how to go about doing it. And then the follow-up event will actually be the hands-on practical thing to go with it. So we've got a bunch of videos that have got to be recorded in the next couple of weeks to try and explain all of that to everybody. So, yeah.
And Mick, are you cooking tonight?
No, I'm just not wearing a lot of clothes.
Thanks for sharing, mate.
Well, thanks for not sharing you.
Yeah, I'm laying in bed. Yeah, no, as far as PHP deprecating things and making broad sweeping changes, there's a concerted effort for PHP to continue to become a more strict language and reach some otherwise unpredicted strict rules by PHP 9. So there's the concerned parties that are actively supporting and maintaining it. They want PHP to be taken more and more seriously as a professional language, and as a consequence, they're going to be removing things that make sloppy code easier to write. And so it will start to align with some of the other more dignified languages that have strict typing, data typing and things like that, which is why all these annoying, you can't pass null parameters into native functions, why these are all popping up. But there's a concerted effort to make the language stronger. So that's why it's happening at the PHP level. I am happy to see, I think I saw in the last 3 weeks that Joomla has adopted PSR 12 coding standards, which is super, super awesome because I found it really frustrating to have to mentally get my brain around 2 different coding standards when jumping between a Joomla script and a non-Joomla script. So it's nice that they've just whoever decided to come on board, it just makes it a bit better, and it will stop people that are from outside the Joomla community being hesitant to contribute to Joomla development, because then they won't get flicked back like, oh, you're using spaces instead of tabs and this instead of that, and we have our own standard, you have to learn our standard. Well, who wants to learn 2 standards? That's rubbish. So yeah, I find that to be a step in the right direction of Joomla becoming a more attractive platform for people to contribute to. And finally, from me, about, I guess, a week or 2 ago, I had another call out for people to become moderators on JSE. Not a thing.
It's that time of year again already.
Sorry, Patrick, I was talking to somebody else. Where was that?
Sorry, yeah, is it that time of year again already?
Well, it is perpetually that time of year. So Joomla Stack Exchange is asking for anyone, and has been asking since, I don't even know when we started, April of this year, is that Joomla Stack Exchange will go through a complete moderator reshuffle. Like, they'll unseat the 2 of us that are currently moderators, and we'll have a whole new vote, and we'll elect 3 moderators as part of Joomla becoming a fully dignified, matured Stack Exchange community, so no longer in beta status. So once that happens, then other things start to happen, but we can't have nice things until we actually look a bit more legitimate, and we're not reaching that first threshold. So the Stack Exchange, the Stack Overflow paid staff are waiting for me and, I guess, Peter to say, hey, we've got enough candidates. We reckon we've got enough people to actually run an election. Let's go. So as soon as I say let's go, they'll have it, but no one wants to. So Terry Carter is someone who has raised their hand saying that they're interested in becoming a moderator. And I actually feel bad at this point that he wants to be a moderator, but I'm still holding out for another applicant so that we can have an election. Otherwise, he would just be adopted straight back in. What's a little bit sad is that I'm still hanging on as someone who doesn't use Joomla at all anymore. I mean, I'm there every day, and I have the skills to moderate and the confidence to moderate, but ideally, at some point, there's going to have to be a torch passing, and or a baton passing, and there's just not enough grassroots of people that are stuck in there that have the time and the ability to become moderators themselves. I mean, I look at how often Shaki is contributing, and he was posting answers probably more than anyone else. And then we've got Terry and Sydney, who goes by the handle of iRata. He's also contributing quite frequently. So I kind of expect those people that are the most active to be the ones to raise their hand when elections come around, but these guys have not. So I don't know what to say I don't know what to do to make people come out of the woodwork, but yeah, it's a little bit concerning. I'm not going anywhere. I'll continue to do my thing, and I'm pretty sure Peter will also hang around. But it would be nice if there was some more activity. But I think this is it's not just a JSE problem. This is a Joomla problem. Is that there are a lot of users, but not a lot of contributors, not a lot of volunteers.
Yeah.
So
and I'll talk to you more on that in conversation in the next couple of weeks.
okay.
Because we're rewriting the contributed Joomla and reprocessing that so that it's not just a one pager, it'll actually be some more interactive stuff to try and help people work out where they can fit in if they're interested in volunteering. And then in October, we're going to be taking all that sort of concept out to the Discord for Hacktoberfest, which has got about 12,000 people on it, things like that. So we might find that we end up with some extra eyes in front of the information and some more people that might be interested in participating in all different methods, including Stack Exchange answering.
I've actually come to my own sort of conclusion about what type of personality and what kind of person would be a good candidate to become a moderator. And in my opinion, and this hasn't always been the case, my opinion, it would be better if we had someone who had Stack Overflow or Stack Exchange general knowledge and experience. Like if they were active in another community and they wanted to moderate on JSE, it would be better to have that versus someone who didn't have any Stack Exchange experience but had loads of Joomla experience. So, I mean, if we have people in that regard that are super Joomla gurus, well, they should start becoming contributors, not necessarily becoming moderators. But if people do have experience with Stack Overflow, that, in my opinion, would give them a leg up over people who weren't experienced, because it's about philosophy too often. When making a decision about whether content should stay or content should go, or if it's creeping too far, or if people's behavior isn't quite suitable for Stack Exchange, you would only know that if you were familiar with the vibe of Stack Exchange and where it's headed, as opposed to how's the vibe of things with Joomla. So experience is important.
Yeah.
In other news, I moved offices this week.
Where are you now, Mick?
So I'm over at the intersection of Queen and Wharf and Eagle. So I'm technically on Eagle Street. So far more bustling and moving around than where I was on Turbot Street. But the building that we're in, right in the bottom, is like a direct path to a bar at the bottom. So it's quite dangerous for a Friday afternoon. Go down and have some drinks, have a look at the river. It's quite a good spot.
Sorry, say again, Jerry.
Mick, you in the building right along the river?
Right on the river. But we don't have river views. We get we're facing west. Oh, and I started coding a new project in .NET, which I'm feeling very much like a fish out of water.
I don't even know how to explain how I would feel faced with that, but worse than that.
Yeah, so I've never written any code in C# before, but that's all about to change.
Good luck.
Yeah, it should make me a better programmer, but it'll hurt in the meantime. It sucks having to go from, having over a dozen years of experience with one language and then just dropping that, moving on to something else and crawling all over again. It's a bit sad.
Keeps life interesting, Mick, at least.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, folks,
Getting
I'm
paid
going
to learn
to
is a
go
good
because I
thing.
have dinner on the stove. So see you all next time.
All right, ciao.
I think I'm in a similar boat. So thanks all for joining. I'll leave the wait for the photo of a beer coming from Brisbane.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you more soon. The
Leave.
backlog.
And I'm out. I'm out too. I'll see you all later.
Bye.
Okay, see ya.
Bye. We can leave.